and welcome back to another extra Friday video. I don't actually know what we're gonna call it or anything, or if we're even gonna do this. As I said in my last Friday video, the one where we were Johnny Marring, I said that I was thinking that we would have one video a week, and then we would keep Fridays open for, I don't know, just hanging out with something simple and easy, you know, just chilling a little bit with something that you guys want me to do. Just, you know, something that could be thrown together last minute, basically, so that we can... I don't know. It's still in the let's try things out and see. But I've been talking to a lot of you guys over on Instagram, where I've helped you build your LM boards, you know, these little things. You might remember this. A lot of you guys subscribed for the first video, and so yeah, it's a popular topic on the channel. A lot of the time when you guys are stuck and you're asking me for help. Last year I did a video where I talked about like the 5 most common mistakes that we have over on the Instagrams to talk about, and one of them is not testing the parts. And it seems to me, I could be wrong, but it seems to me that a lot of you need help with this. And so I was thinking today we are quickly gonna take our multimeter, and if you don't have a multimeter, I suggest you get one. And we are gonna use it to basically get ready to build the LM pedal. When I made the LM pedal, the first one, I'm just calling it the LM pedal, you all know which one it is. When I made the first one, I didn't think that it would be, you know, something that anyone wanted to see anything more about. I thought, I'll make this video and hopefully, you know, I get maybe a boost in subscribers, you know, a couple of people who like it. And then it will just fade away and it won't be anything that anyone is interested in or that anyone wants to talk to me about, basically. But had I known that so many people would like that video and then like the other ones as well, I probably would have done this video a lot earlier, like a year ago or something. But obviously you don't know until you know. Yes. So we're gonna take the parts that we need to build a pedal, the Fuss LM board pedal, and we are gonna just see if all the parts works. So we're not gonna build the pedal here because I've already built the pedal so many times now in different weird ways. So yeah, if you are getting ready to build that pedal and you've watched the video, the first one, and you want to do it, you want to start building the pedal, then this is the perfect video to watch and then follow along before you actually start building. I've already done a playlist on the channel because one of you requested it, and so I did it. There is a playlist of all the videos on the LM board, yeah. And I'm gonna try to update it whenever I do anything with the LM boards, so that that playlist has everything in it. So check that out and see if you if there's anything in there that maybe you missed. And now we're gonna jump into this, because seriously, I've been talking too long now, and we have a couple of parts that we need to check. You are going to need a multimeter. I've already said this. I hope you have a multimeter. If you don't have a multimeter, please get it. And we actually just need a very simple, easy multimeter, so you don't need to buy anything fancy. There are 2 settings on this that you select by moving this that we're going to use. And the first one is the ohms. It's there on mine. Sometimes these settings are flipped other ways, but the ohms is this symbol. Now you know, and that's what we're going to use. And obviously, you're going to have to find the right settings, but we'll jump in to the overview and get a closer look at that. The next one is the continuity mode, which is down there, and it's this symbol. An important thing to know when it comes to continuity, and I hope you're going to be able to hear this, but when you flip over to continuity mode, these two, when they touch, make a sound. So if I hold these together and I flip to continuity mode, I hope you can hear that little beep. We basically use that so that if there's something in between these and a signal can pass through, we know if a signal can pass through. I haven't come across any multimeter that doesn't have this function. Maybe there are some out there, but for what we're doing and for basic things, this is a very basic setting. There are more high-end multimeters, but we don't need that when we are building this pedal. So let's jump into continuity mode. That was so cheesy. First off, I suggest you have some sort of container, like this one, where you can keep your parts. This one, I have a lot of other things in as well, but I have an LM board, for example. And it's just a good thing to have. Now you're gonna see this, and you're gonna see that I've already removed this thing here, but don't care about these details. I'm building something with this that is gonna come later. It looks like that. Now, the way I test it to work is that I put wires in it and I play through it with this. The best way to make sure your LM board works properly and do it in a fast way is to just attach an input jack on this side, an output jack on this side, and a 9-volt battery to the VCC and one of the grounds, and just play it and just move the trim pot around and see, you know, how it works. I've gotten some comments, people saying that moving this trim pot around and things like that is making it noisier and things like that. And when I built the first one with 2 of these in it, I said that I set one of them to taste. But really what I did, which I mean, I suppose I didn't explain it very well, and maybe I should have made a video talking about it a little bit more. But what I did was I set one to max, and that's the one that I'm going to be able to control. And then I set the other one so where the max of the other one was, let's say, more workable or more user-friendly. Because having both to max will not really help you with anything, because 100% gain is still 100% gain. And just turning the pot just a little bit so that it's like at 90 or something and not 100% will let you work more efficiently with the other one. It also means that when you put the first one to 0, it doesn't really ground everything out and make it hiss, which I think is the thing that some of you are experiencing, and I'm experiencing it too with the ones where I only have one of these. I hope this makes sense, but you have to think of this not as a pedal kit, but more as a like stupid, silly little crappy thing that you're trying to make into something that is, you know, it's still kind of crappy, to be honest. Like, I'm not really recommending to anyone to build a pedal out of this. Like, there are better ways to get a fuzz pedal. This is more if you think it's fun to tinker and you think it's kind of a funny thing. Like, I think this is a kind of a funny thing, that this crappy little thing you can get from China in a 10-pack bunk, you know, whatever, that you can actually get a usable, or at least somewhat usable, pedal out of it. But it's not better in any stretch of the imagination than a actual pedal kit. I hope this makes sense. I hope I'm not like pissing any of you off, because I'm just trying to be real with you. I realize some of you might be thinking, why even bother making this pedal then? And for you, I would say you most likely should just buy pedals, because maybe you don't think it's fun to build them. But I enjoy the work. Like, to me, building the pedal is as fun as using it to make music. Anyway, here we have my multimeter, and here you can see all the little things. and we put it to continuity mode, and we get a little sound. I hope you can hear it. And now we can test, for example, the grounds. So if I hold this to one of the grounds, like so, and I try the other grounds out, I can like feel around and I can find all the grounds. So if you want to, for example, hack this is how you would find the grounds for that. For example, here is a ground. So between these two, for example, you would maybe want to put something. If you want to change things around, here's a ground. You could put something from that ground to that ground. Now, obviously, don't mistake what I'm saying now. For me, actually, I'm just poking at things to show you. I'm not saying that you can actually do anything because I haven't like experimented or anything. You can just solder the wires for the out and the ins onto this and then just play through it and experiment. But you could also, if you are going to make more than one, build one of these. I've already done a video on this, so I'm not going to jump into it too much. It's called the Swiss Army Pedal Explained. There really isn't that much more to say about it. I realized that because the reason why I'm saying you have to play through it is because some of you guys have issues that are different than what someone else has having. And some of you have issues where you can locate it by testing the grounds. And some of you have issues where it's like the controller here doesn't seem to really be doing what it's supposed to do. And I just don't think it's really worth it, but maybe someone disagrees, to go into this and try to start messing around with these parts. It's better to just buy the 10-pack and switch them around. Another thing that I want to quickly say about these, if you look at mine, I have a very bright, clear, like green color on this connector here. It's like the greenest green or grass green, or you know, it's green. And some of you are having less luck with getting good ones than I am. And I'm not saying that this is true. I'm just pointing out something that I've noticed. And that is that when the ones that have more than 1 out of 10 being broken are the ones that have another color. Or at least so far when I've spoken to you. Because you can find these with red connectors here, or brown, or a really pale green, or a blue color that is more this sort of bluish color. You can also find them with a sort of greenish blue color that is, you know, seafoam green kind of. And then you can find it with this one. And from all of the people that I've spoken to on Instagram about these, it really seems like the ones of you who have gotten the clear, or not clear, maybe it's the wrong word, but this bright green that I have, you seem to be the ones who are having about the same luck with these as I am. And the ones who have gotten the other colors, you seem to be getting a worse product. Not saying that that's completely true or anything, because I obviously haven't tried every kind of these that exist, and I haven't run through a bag of 10 of every kind, but just, yeah, that's just a, you know, a reminder from conversations I've had with all of you that maybe when you're going to buy these, look out and make sure you buy the ones with the green connectors, because obviously these are just generic, fast manufactured parts that are just being pumped out. There's nothing special or, you know, nice about them to be real for a second, and different factories make them a little bit different than others. You can also tell by these that the black, the bright green ones will have the black electrolytic capacitor next to it, and others will have, maybe they will still be green, but this will be blue or brown. And that's also something that I've noticed is a little bit different between the ones, like the quality of them, basically. So try to see if you can find black and green color scheme. And also the board is a very nice, like navy dark blue. I don't know how much you can tell on the camera, but yeah, that's it. I just wanted to say those things about the LM board, and hopefully you're gonna have more luck than some of the other viewers who have gotten the other colored ones and been sad. Okay, so the next part we're gonna look at is the pots that you're using. A lot of you guys have told me that you're having issues with your pots. You've wired things up and you're having problems with them. And maybe it's because wires are not really going where they need to go. Maybe it's because the soldering is sloppy. And sometimes it's because the pots don't really work. So, first of all, we have to take our pots, and if we hope you can see, it says 50K, which means we have to take our multimeter and move it to the ohms, which is that symbol there, and we have to move it to the closest that is higher. So the closest to 50 is 20, but that's lower than 50. So we have to go up to, on this one, 200. If you have something that says 50, you can go to 50, but this one's closest is 200, that is above. And then we take our prongs, and you can't see the screen, but there it is. I hope you can make out and you put them on the outer legs, and you get a reading. And I hope you can see that this says 46.2. Now, they all have a percentage tolerance, which means they're in the ballpark of what it says. So this one, it says 50, but it's 46. So it's still a functioning 50K pot. I hope you understand what it is I'm trying to say. If you want to check the way it moves, you pull it, and I hope I can be able to show you. You pull it all the way to one side, and you put one on the outer and one in the middle, and you should get a reading of 0. I'm gonna try to do this because this is getting fiddly. And then you turn the pot. You should be able to see. And that's good to know how much you have to move the pot. For example, I'm starting to move the pot and nothing is happening, and there it shoots away to 1.5 and then 2, and all of a sudden it's starting to move pretty much. And then we're getting closer, we're halfway, we're beyond halfway. And then, yeah, max. So it has a little bit of gap in the beginning, but all in all it's pretty good. And it doesn't matter which 2 legs you use. You can use these 2 legs as well if you wanna, but then you'll have to move it the other way, basically. So you can think of it this way if you want to. If you use those 2 legs, that and the middle, then you have to turn the pot that way, away from that outer leg. If you're using these 2 legs on this side, then you have to turn it away from that outer leg. And that's that. I have another pot here that I am fairly confident is broken. And so if we measure, and this is supposed to be a 250K pot, and if I put these on the outer 2, it just says 1, which is not correct. And that lets me know that this one is faulty. Okay, so a super quick and easy way to test your LED to see if it works for all you beginners. You can measure them, but a super easy way is to take one of these 1.3 volt batteries and you just press it in. And the good thing is it will also show you which leg is the positive, because it doesn't work the other way around. So you can see it works, and that's my positive leg. And now I know. So if you're building and you want to make 100% sure that you're doing things correctly, this is actually a really good way of doing that, especially when you're starting out and you feel like you won't be really able maybe to tell how to do things. So yeah, I suggest you do it that way when you're building your first pedal. It works every time. And now we're going to jump into this switch here, which I'm going to use this little holder to hold. Now quickly, before we begin, the way these switches work is that you use panel here in the middle legs. If you look at them, you can see the holes. So you're supposed to watch them in this direction, not that direction, but this direction. And it's basically 3 switches in one. So this is one switch, this is one switch, and this is one switch. And the middle leg is connected to the switch, and when you press down, it goes from either being connected to this row to this row. I hope that makes sense. So it's connected here, and then you press it, and it gets connected here instead. And so what we can do to make sure there isn't something weird with our switch is we can use the continuity mode again, and we can just hold it to these legs, and we can start off with these 2, and then we can take these 2. So now we know that if we touch these 2 legs, we should get a signal, and if we touch these 2 legs, because of that, they should also give a signal. And these 2, right. And we shouldn't get a signal from this middle leg to any other leg. So we can try, for example, and touching this leg. And this is super fiddly, and you're supposed to use prongs, better prongs for this. But you see, only connected to that. And if we press it, we are supposed to be the other way around. So now, instead of getting a connection between these 2 legs, we're supposed to get these. And we do. And we can try again, connecting this to one of the legs. And you can go as crazy as you want to, but I'm pretty sure we don't need to go any more crazy than we've already done. And there's nothing except for that one, which is the one we want, and we're all good. I hope I went through that good enough. But basically that's the way it is. If you get some weird kind of connection that it's, you know, you're touching these 2 and you get a signal through, then the switch is broken internally and things are bleeding through in a weird way that they're not supposed to do. And you should either go and get your money back or get a new switch. I don't think that this is necessarily necessary, but you will have cables, and you can actually use the cables as well. Just, you know, put one prong on this side and the other prong on the other side, and just let the continuity mode let you know that they work as well. I don't necessarily think that that's something that you have to test before you start working, but it is, you know, a good thing maybe to do. The next part is this jack here, which you're also going to have to test. I mean, I wouldn't say that you necessarily have to do that, because if they're broken, you can see it. It will either be when you plug a cable in and you don't get that snappy sound. I hope you can hear it. Or you can see that this one is not like fully connecting, or it's already broken off. If it looks weird, or if it looks dull, or if, you know, something like that, I would say that you probably should replace it. Now you can obviously measure as well. For example, if you put it to continuity mode and you hold one here to this base here, and then this leg here is connected to the sleeve, and so by touching this we should get a sound. And as you can hear, we do. And if we put our connector to the tip here, like so, and we touch this other leg here, which is maybe a little bit hard to see, we get a sound as well. So if you want to measure it with the continuity mode, there you have it. Another thing that I quickly want to go over with you when you're trying to build the LM board fuzz pedal is I use these connectors, and a lot of you are not using these, and you're actually using from computers the bigger switch out connectors that I see sometimes come in certain extra plug-in things for when you want to get a new power supply for your computer. And technically, as long as something can get connected, you shouldn't really have any issues. They're different for different sizes and things like that, and you might not get a real connection, but these legs correspond to different parts of the connector here. And most guitar pedals use the same wiring, and that's where that's why you should use one of these, basically, because this leg here, the big one that is flat here, is for the ground, and the last one, not the middle here, the last one here is for the lead. And I use these, and I always say those two connections because most power supplies that you get for pedals use the same orientation. I'll put up a picture here of the symbol that you're supposed to look at on your power supply. And if you look at your power supply, and here I have one, you can see the symbol right there. And it's like a half moon with a little dot in the middle, and the dot points to a ring with a minus, and the half moon points to a ring with a plus. That means that the center is minus and the outer is plus. And if you look at this, it might be hard to tell. I'll zoom in for you. Hopefully you can tell. But there is like a little thing sticking up there in the middle. And that's the minus. And the plate on the side here, which maybe you can't see, that's the side and that's the plus. And if you're curious, you can take your multimeter and you can take one of the prongs to the side and you can touch these legs and you should hear it. So now you know. I'm touching the side and it's plus, and it's that one. And doing this, touching them parts, it's not necessary if you know what it is you're using and you know which one is the right one for plus and you know which one is the right one for minus. But if you're using something different than I am showing you in the video, then you have to make sure that you have the orientation right and that you look at your pedal power supply and that you follow that orientation of this symbol. Because otherwise you're putting all your grounds into lead and all your leads into ground, and you're flipping everything around. And I haven't done this, so I can't tell you that the LM board will burn up, but I'm pretty sure it will. It seems to me like it should. So it's actually kind of important that you do this. And the same thing goes for any pedal you build. So if you're having issues and you're not using one of these and you are testing the board and it's broken, it might be you who have broken it because you might have, So if you're using some other kind of plug, which I've seen a couple of different ones from you guys, and I don't know every part, like what's the center on every kind of these. So yeah, put one leg on the top right here and then listen for the beep and figure out which leg you're supposed to use if you're using something else. On this one I can just tell you ground is this big one. Sorry. Ground is this big one, and the last one right here is the lead, and that's the ones you're supposed to use for building this pedal. And yeah, that's what you find in the instructions that I've shown you. Okay, so the last part in building this pedal is you're going to put a resistor between the LED and the switch and the output, and you're going to use that to make sure your LED doesn't burn. And you should use something like a 2.2 or a 3.3K resistor, and I usually don't measure these to make sure they work because buying them new. I don't think I've ever bought a resistor and it not working. Knock on wood. That's the case. That I never have to deal with that, because it could be really annoying, especially if you're buying something with like 100 different resistors in it, to have to try them all. But if you're unsure and you want to try it, you take your multimeter and you put it over to the ohms, and this one is a 1.8k, which means we have to go to 20k, because that's the closest on this one. And then you just put this on the two legs, like so, and you'll get a reading. And mine says 1.79, which means it's really close to being 1.8, like it says it's supposed to be. And that's it. Now you hopefully know how to test the parts to do this pedal kit. I hope that helped. I hope you feel like you're more equipped to build this pedal. Well, there you have it. I hope this helped you, and that you now know exactly what you need to do in order to prepare for working with pedals and things like that. Parts to pedals, I mean. God damn it. I tried to say everything neatly and nicely, but failed. Anyway, talk to me in the comments below if there is something else that you feel that you need to know about. And yeah. That's the end of this video. If you liked it, press the like button. If you're new here and for some reason this is your first video, I don't know why it is. Yeah, then you're probably confused and don't understand nothing. And I'm sorry. But anyway, subscribe and check out the playlist of the LM board, because there you'll find a lot of videos to help you prepare for building this pedal. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you in another video. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, don't forget to stay awesome and cool. And go and test the parts you're gonna use to build this LM board pedal thing, because there is really nothing more frustrating than building this entire pedal and then realizing that nothing works because you use broken parts. So go and test everything before, and also try to make clean solder joints, because that's also kind of important. Not really a part of this video, but a hot tip for you there at the end. You know, do a good job soldering and you'll be good. So do that, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!